Discussion action items. At this point, I'd entertain a motion to remove from the table the Empowerment Factory Winter STEAM Program MOU.
Second.
Motion to remove from the table the Empowerment Factory Winter STEAM Program MOU by Ms. Spinolo, seconded by Ms. Doobie. Any discussion on removal from the table? Roll call, please.
Ms. Spinolo? Yes. Ms. Carney?
Yes.
Mr. Shalal?
Yes.
Ms. Doobie?
Yes.
Ms. Fernandez?
Yes.
Ms. Grant?
Yes.
Mr. Charbonneau?
Yes. Right. We will move to recommendation to award the Empowerment Factory Winter STEAM Program MOU, Assistant Superintendent Ramsey.
Good evening. This evening, before you, we are asking for your approval. The Empowerment Factory seeks to provide Henry Jane Winters School students with the opportunity to participate in the Empowerment Factory's Trash to Treasure STEAM program. It is an 8-week course collaborating with and supporting STEAM teachers with grades 3 and 4 at Henry J. Winters Elementary School. The Empowerment Factory will provide 8 40-minute STEAM lessons or sessions for students in grades 3 and 4 for 8 weeks, with each class receiving 8 sessions. The Empowerment Factory has earmarked their grant funding in support of the students at Winters and is being provided to the Pawtucket School Department at no cost.
Motion to approve the award, to award the Empowerment Factory Winter STEAM Program MOU by Ms. Spinolo, seconded by Mr. Shalal. Discussion, Ms. Doobie.
I know I don't see Ms. Allers here tonight, but I do know she was here when we had this on the agenda before, and I'm sure if she isn't here, it's because she has a conflict because she's quite busy. But I really do want to commend her for continuing to do the work to secure the grants and then turn around and deliver these services to our students. She continues to show her commitment to the students in Pawtucket, and I thank her for that.
Thank you. She is asked to be notified of the answer this evening, and we will share that with her when we text her.
All right. Any other discussion? Roll call on the award, please.
Ms. Spinolo? Yes. Ms. Carney?
Yes.
Mr. Shalal? Yes. Ms. Doobie? Yes. Ms. Fernandez? Yes. Ms. Grant? Yes. Mr. Charbonneau?
Yes. All right. New business discussion action items. Recommendation to award Collier's Project Leader Owner's Project Manager contract for the Unified High School project. Assistant Superintendent.
So good evening once again. On January 9th, the school committee voted to award Collier's Project Leaders as the OPM for the Unified High School. The contract before you in your packets this evening has been vetted by legal counsel. It is the recommendation that we accept this project management agreement.
Motion to approve the award to Collier's Project Leaders as the owner's project manager contract for the Unified High School by Mr. Shalal, seconded by Ms. Spinolo. Any discussion on the contract? Everybody had a chance to look it over. No questions? Roll call on the approval for Collier's, please.
Ms. Spinolo? Yes. Ms. Carney? Yes. Mr. Shalal? Yes. Ms. Doobie?
Yes.
Ms. Fernandez? Yes. Ms. Grant? Yes. Mr. Charbonneau?
Yes. All right, recommendation to award the Guaranteed Maximum Price Agreement, GPM, to Shawmut Design and Construction, Elizabeth Baldwin Elementary School.
So we're pleased.
Everybody's coming up.
Everybody's coming up, the
All
whole
right.
group, so I'm going to introduce you. Come on up. So we're pleased to bring you a GMP this evening for Shawmut for Elizabeth Baldwin. We have with us Rose from Colliers and Gordon from Shawmut, and I'm going to turn the podium over to them for presentation.
Good evening, members of the school committee. Behind me are some actual renderings of what the Baldwin Elementary School will look like. I figured it would be useful for the committee to see what the school will look like given this GMP number. So I have a couple slides that I'll sort of review really quickly, and then we'll go into the GMP number. So this is one of your exterior elevations for the Baldwin School. This is one of the wings. So you see that there's brick colors, a lot of copper tone, a lot of pop of color. This is just one wing. This is going to be the main entrance of Baldwin, which is really nice because you get the reds, the yellows, the greens. So this will be the entrance. This is going to be the back of the building. This is the assortment of colors that will be used for the Baldwin Elementary School. So you see that's a lot of fun colors for the school. This is just a site plan. If you were in an airplane looking down at the site, this is what it's going to look like. So it's a little bit of a horseshoe. And then it has 3 playgrounds, some parking area. This is your entrance over here and some parking area over by Randall Street as well. This is what the playground equipment will look like in all 3 of the playgrounds. Up top, you'll see pre-K. Down below, you'll see 3 to 5. And then up to your right, you'll see the K through 2 play structures for all the playgrounds in Baldwin. And this is where we are today. It doesn't look as pretty, but it will eventually. We're in foundations. Shama has done a phenomenal job keeping the schedule and keeping everything moving. So this is where we are today. And before the committee is a recommendation to award the GMP, which stands for Guaranteed Maximum Price for the construction of the elementary school. Our recommendation is that it gets awarded to Shawmut in the amount of $58,880,441. It took a lot of hard work from Shawmut, Levy Architects, Torado, Colliers, and the school department to get to where we are today. And we could say that we are on time and on budget. Any questions?
Motion to approve the guaranteed maximum price agreement to Shawmut Design and Construction by Ms. Pinolo, seconded by Ms. Connie and Ms. Doobie. Discussion. Ms. Pinolo.
How many changes had to be made to keep it within budget?
That's a great question. Gordon, I'll let you speak up.
Yeah, I would say not many. We didn't sacrifice any program. We didn't sacrifice any design. There was a few modifications to the facade, such as the fins in the courtyard. It was a substantial savings in the courtyard. We just eliminated the fins. You wouldn't be able to tell. So the whole other part of the building kept its fins. It was really scrubbing through the budgets on both ends. We had a couple of meetings. Contingencies, allowances were reduced to get to the number. But really, we didn't really sacrifice anything. So really, it was just the fins was the number that we agreed, and with the help of the architects, we agreed to just eliminate them in the courtyard. And we have them on a list if we, time is of the essence. So if we could get them back in, we will, but it's highly unlikely that they'll get back in because of the time, releasing the material. But we didn't sacrifice anything else. It was really on my team and Collier's team going through the budget, seeing where we could just eliminate some of the contingencies that we were carrying, some of the allowances that we were carrying. One of the big things is the site really, we didn't have many problems with the site, and that was a big factor. Ground improvements, we did in the beginning save $1 million on the way we put the foundations in. When they wanted to do piles, we went to another vendor and we ended up doing spread footings, and it was just being creative, and we saved $1 million on the site alone. So so to answer your question, not much. And we're on budget.
And on time, April of
And on
25?
time. I would say June of 25, but we're on time.
But we'll be getting the
And,
children.
we've been battling the winter. It's been really bad. This has been a bad year for water. I don't know if you see the site, when we get that 5 inches of rain, we can't work. The site is totally, that's nothing. There's 10 inches of water on the site, so we pump water out constantly. But Yeah, we're on time. The children will be in that school on time, I guarantee it.
Ms. Grant?
Can you just remind me when you say that, we saved a lot of money by getting rid of the fins? What were the
Well-
fins?
Well, the fins was just it's just I'll let one of the architects want to explain it better than I did. I call them fins, but it's just really an architect's feature, like trim. I don't know if we have a picture of them.
They are a vertical, piece that is a piece of the window trim, so it's really, I mean, what's nice about the design of the building that Jonathan's given us is it's a very dynamic shape that relies a lot on the shapes and the forms, so it's not cluttered with a lot of decorations. But to give you some, relief, you see, this is a fin right here. It is, sort of, a triangulated continuous piece that goes up and down on the edge of the window. So it is a piece of, a trim that's attached to the window, that's an opportunity to add color and to give a shadow line. And so on the main facades that face the street, we fought to keep it.
Okay.
And, when you're inside the courtyard, it's a little bit more of a private area. And so from the street, you're gonna be teaching and playing and whatnot. So
Okay.
it's an opportunity where maybe you don't need as much decoration or detail.
If okay, Mr. Charbonneau, I just have a follow-up question. So I guess my next question is, did I miss a meeting? Like, is this something that came before us? Because it sounds like it's part of the design, that it would have been something that we would have approved of with part of the schematics designs. Did this change come before us to approve? Or should it have, or?
The change, I'm sorry, which change?
The things you took off to save the money.
I think it was part of like the exercise, right, to get to the GMP number. There were items that were removed, but there was, I also want to make it clear to the committee also that there were items that were added as well, like for example, a garland roof that cost a lot of money. There were some other items that were added, like the poured in place surfacing in all the playgrounds that could have saved $600,000, but we knew the importance of that for the committee and for the school, so we kept those items in. So we did add a lot, not just take away, but it was part of the exercise that Shawmut and Colliers and Torado and Levy have been working to get to the budget that was provided and approved by the committee come DD.
So I'm assuming that's a no. It did not, these
It
approvals.
didn't come in
the
front of this
change-
committee, no.
Okay, so I guess, I don't know who I would ask, but should these changes have come before facilities and school committee? Should any of the changes to the
It was
schematic
discussed, it was definitely
designs?
discussed with facilities and at the meetings, at the OEC meetings, for sure.
Okay, because I just want to make sure that as a committee, we're not being overlooked. And if someone's making these decisions or approving these decisions and they're passing our committee, that's a problem. And I'd kind of like to have that clarified. I'd like to know why, how, and who decided that these changes can be made. Because like I said, I know I'm on the facilities and I'm on the school committee, and I haven't missed a meeting in a while. So I'm not sure when it comes to budgeting, how, like you had stated, a more expensive thing was added to the roof, those were taken away, and they weren't brought in front of the committee for approval. I'm just kind of concerned. So I'd really like to see if I could get some answers to that.
I hear you, Ms. Grant. I think, and I'm with you. In the value engineering of this thing to get to this $58 million number, what were the material changes? To Ms. Grant's point, this committee approved a design, were updated on that design as it was evolving. and now we're being asked to award the price, but we took something off here. Did we change the square footage of the building?
No.
Did-
No. So here are some of the things. So we talked fins, right? There was some plywood backing on the exterior, metal panels that Shawmut found some savings with the subcontractor, which doesn't compromise the integrity of the building. So we thought that it was a great idea. That was one of them. Another one was also like underground piping. We went to PVC, I believe. That was early on, and that doesn't compromise the integrity of the building either. So those were some of the items that we removed.
So you mentioned that a roof garden was approved?
No.
Or what? for a roof?
Garland
No,
roof.
the original
It's a-
plans didn't have a garland, it's a manufacturer.
manufacturer.
The original plans did not have a garland roof.
Okay.
Facilities all throughout Pawtucket has garland roofs, and they were very, concerned that they weren't gonna get a garland roof, so we put it back into the project.
Okay.
And it was substantially more money to do that.
Like I said, and I'm not sure where we go from here or how it's handled, but it does concern me that there have been changes to our design in our project, and they haven't come before us. So I would really like to know who took charge and decided that these changes could happen and could take place without our approvals, because this is not a committee of one or two, it's a committee of 7, and this is a lot of money, and the changes really should come before us. And I'm just a little surprised to hear that there were changes made to save money and not. But, you mentioned, certain flooring was changed for the playground or something like that. I know we did have a meeting in regards to the playground, but were there those changes, some of the changes like the flooring for the playground made with or without our decisions, or I'm not really
There was
sure.
3 playgrounds, one playground didn't have it, but it was material that you approved initially.
Initially, okay.
And the other playground had wood chips. So, and we were told Pawtucket does not want wood chips in their playground. So we just added not flooring,
Port in place.
poured in place.
But it didn't
Period.
come in front of us. And those are things that need to come in front of us for approval, because we are responsible for the budget of this project. And I do appreciate you guys having our back in trying to cut costs. But when push comes to shove, it is really our decision on how the money should be saved. And like I said, this is the first I'm hearing on some of these things, and I'm actually kind of surprised.
What was the original construction budget? Did we value engineer $5 million off the price, or did we value engineer $1 million off the
So
price?
the DD estimate was 58,892,000, and our current GMP came in at 58,880. So there's a difference of $11,000. And like Gordon had said previously, there were allowances that were significantly reduced, because we have foundations in the ground already, so a lot of the exposure and the risks that Shawmut had predicted no longer was there. So we reevaluated it, and then we're like, okay, we don't really need, this amount of money, and we pulled it back. So there was a lot of that that Shawmut did in order to get to this number, but the difference was only $11,000.
Okay. Ms. Spinola?
When they did the value engineering, Lisa, you and John were part of that? We were. Okay, it didn't come before me, so,
So I guess I just want to know why it wasn't brought in front of us, and where or how do we go from here in regards to that? Because these changes were not approvals that we made as a committee. And I just don't want to set a standard. You know, we have a lot going forward, a lot of big projects, a lot of money. And I just want to make sure that the taxpayers, you know, us as a committee are the ones that are going to be held accountable. And I want people to know that we are watching, we are paying attention. But like I said, my concern is, why didn't this come before us?
And I think, Ms. Grant, I think you have a valid concern. I think it's a valid point. I think for the sake of the meeting and the process, where the price only differs from 11,000, I'm comfortable approving this as is. To your point, I think that is a broader discussion for this committee to have, and I'll look at the next available meeting to put that on. That will give everybody time to kind of interact, get some information, and get back to the committee? Or is that acceptable to everybody? Is that? Okay, so, Ms. Liz, please make a note of that. We'll have that back as a discussion item. But as we talk about the GMP, Mr. Shalal?
Getting back to the design and stuff, do we have enough parking spots for all those teachers
Yes.
on the campus?
Yes.
All right, so you got
Nothing changed there.
nothing changed yet? We have plenty of parking spots for the teachers? All right, thank you.
Anything else on the GMP? All right, no further discussion. Roll call.
One more question. So, Frank, you said it was like a V shape, the fin.
Yes.
So what is there now? What is it replaced with? Just a piece of aluminum or?
No, so you have the window frame, the aluminum window frame that is always there. In these, and so you'll see, for example, you see there's the window frame around the window that will always exist. This fin, just in some areas, like you see, there's one there, there's not one on every frame. It's just a piece that's added onto. It's not functional, it's purely decorative.
Okay.
Okay. And so we're just not putting it
So
there.
it doesn't
It'll be
impede the
like a
seal or
regular
anything
window.
else?
No,
Okay.
and it's not structural, it doesn't affect the function of the window or anything like that.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else on the GMP? Roll call on the approval, please.
Ms. Bonolo? Yes. Ms. Carney? Yes. Mr. Shalal?
Yes.
Ms. Doobie?
Yes.
Ms. Fernandez? Yes. Ms. Grant? Yes. Mr. Charbonneau?
Yes. All right. Thank you, everybody. Recommendation to award Boys and Girls Club MOU Learn 365.
Good evening. Before you this evening is an approval, we're seeking approval for the Boys and Girls Club of Pawtucket to collaborate with Jenks Middle School and Goff Middle School with their Boys and Girls Club production of an after-school enrichment program as part of the Learn 365 grant. This MOU shall be effective for a period of 5 months from the effective date. The Boys and Girls Club will hire staff to oversee the day-to-day operations of the program and act as a point of contact and liaison between the club and the school, as well as arrange transportation for the students from school to the club. The program will run from 2:30 to 5:30. Should have started in January through the last day of school in June. Activities will include homework help, physical fitness, healthy lifestyles, arts, social emotional wellness. The goal is to decrease chronic absenteeism rates through the availability of high-yield enrichment programming as an interactive or an incentive for student attendance. So we're seeking an approval for this MOA, which has been vetted by legal counsel.
Motion to approve the award to the Boys and Girls Club MOU for the Learn 365 by Ms. Doobie, seconded by Ms. Bonolo. Discussion, Ms. Doobie.
Okay, so I have a few questions. First, I know the Boys and Girls Club is an excellent partner of ours. I trust that they're gonna have really high-quality programs for our students there. I know they do already. But is it happening there? It says there's gonna be transportation for the students from the school to the club, but then it says that our responsibility is to designate schools, classrooms, spaces, and gym equipment for their usage.
It's both. It's on Fridays, they get transported to the club. The rest of the day is there at the
Monday through
school.
Thursday, they're gonna be at our schools.
Correct.
So only because I know my daughter's doing basketball right now, our gym at Goff is quite booked up in the afternoons. But one of the areas here is physical fitness and gym equipment. Is this gonna be a problem with our students who
No,
are
it-
currently using it for clubs?
It shouldn't be. They're going to work around that, and then they'll go over to the club, they'll do activities, homework help, and then they'll be bussed over.
Okay. My second question is, why isn't Slater included in this?
It's already being run there.
Okay.
Through
So
a
this
MOU
is,
from last year.
okay. So that one carried over, because this is only 5 months.
So no, this is a different one. So we did that one, and it was so successful that through the Learn 365, it was discussed that we would incorporate Jenks and Goff into that. So this is kind of a mirror of what they're already doing at Slater.
And it's the same program, they're doing 4 days at Slater, 1 day at the club?
Yes.
And it's been
I
working
can
well?
get those details from you specifically, and the project is something that's very successful.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Conley?
Of attendance at Slater since they've been running the program?
You know what, Ms. Carney, I haven't been monitoring that, but I can,
Just
and
wondering,
I can
seeing
get
as
that.
that's the
So I can get that information, share it with the clerk, and get that out to you, because I know that with Learn 365 through the absentee incentive program, we do need to do progress reports, but since that's not part of it, I haven't been monitoring that one as closely, but I will get that information and share it with the clerk for you.
Ms. Grant, then Ms. Bonolo?
I actually have a couple of questions. How much money do we have for this, the fund, the 365?
365 was $310,000.
Okay. And I'm a little confused by the last sentence. The goal is to decrease chronic absenteeism rates through the availability of high-yield enrichment programming as an incentive for school attendance. So do the students have to have good attendance to be able to attend the program?
No, we target students that might be at risk of attendance deficits, and we encourage them. Same thing with the other formats of the Learn 365, but this particularly, we want to encourage them for regular attendance, some after-school activities to increase their opportunities to want to come to school, to enhance what they're doing in school, to give them an opportunity to participate in exciting things during school and as well as after school.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Bonolo?
How does that impact COSI?
At the middle
Is it
level,
in-
it doesn't.
So the kids that are in COSI remain in COSI?
There is no
There
COSI
is
at
no
the middle
COSI at
level.
the middle
They do
anymore?
robotics, but there's no COSI at the middle level.
Okay.
Anything else? There's a motion on the floor to approve the Boys and Girls Club MOU Learn 365 by Ms. Doobie. It's been seconded by Ms. Bonolo. No further discussion. Roll call on the award, please.
Ms. Bonolo? Ms. Carney? Mr. Shalell? Ms. Doobie? Ms. Fernandez? Ms. Grant? Mr. Charbonneau?
Yes. All right, field trip for committee approval.
This evening, we have 2 field trips for your approval. The first one is Tolman High School to the DECA International Career Development Conference in Anaheim, California, from April 26th to May 1st. Is approximately 6 students, and there will be an adjustment to the number of chaperones to the number of 2. And your staff report is going to be increased to number 2, working with Mr. DeRezzo on that. The second one is, and it could be up to 6. In the past, he's taken between 2 and 4, but with the conversation about chaperones, we do feel more comfortable having 2, so we will be sending 2. Tolman High School, do you want to do one at a time?
No, we can take them both
Okay.
together.
Tolman High School to the Basketball Hall of Fame in Springfield, Massachusetts on March 22nd, 25 students, 2 chaperones.
Motion to approve the field trips by Mr. Shalell, seconded by Ms. Grant and Ms. Doobie. Discussion on the field trips? Mr. Shalell?
Are we giving Tolman students to go to the Hall of Fame?
School buses.
Oh, boy, okay. And that's tough, but
Anything else? Roll call on the approval of the field trips, please.
Ms. Bonolo? Yes. Ms. Carney? Yes. Mr. Shalell? Yes. Ms. Doobie?
Yes.
Ms. Fernandez? Yes. Ms. Grant? Yes. Mr. Charbonneau?
Yes. Thank you. All right, Charles E. Shea High School update. I will take that. I know Superintendent Royal wanted to speak to it. But there was discussion on the roof with RIDE. It was initially, I believe, the status currently is that they are asking that we hold on any further construction at Shea pending the Unified High School. I do believe Superintendent Royal has had some conversations, and RIDE is agreed to revisit the topic with us. So that's the only update I can provide at this time. That meeting is scheduled to take place sometime next week, I believe. But, so more to come on the Shea High School. It's not a closed book yet. So that was the update. And I'll turn the meeting over to Ms. Doobie for the next couple of agenda items.
So we have first passage on BDH, School Committee Communications. This is a new policy as part of, we continue to notice where we might have policies that we're missing. This is a pretty common policy in the bylaws of most school committees. And so the language has been carried over from other manuals. And specifically, one of the reasons that I think this policy is important is that when there aren't policies in place, new members especially can not understand what the process is for visiting schools, for making requests. And so some people have determined one way and other people determine another way, and it can be difficult to manage. So this basically spells out how requests are made, how visits are scheduled, and how communication works between the school committee and the administration.
Motion to approve first passage BDH School Committee Communication, new policy by Mr. Shalell, seconded by Ms. Grant. Discussion on this? Any discussion? Roll call on the first passage approval, please.
Ms. Bonolo? Yes. Ms. Carney? Yes. Mr. Shalell? Yes. Ms. Doobie?
Yes.
Ms. Fernandez? Yes. Ms. Grant? Yes. Mr. Charbonneau?
Yes.
So the second policy is a current policy. It's our substance abuse policy. Concerns have been brought that although it does say that any device used to smoke tobacco is prohibited, the word that's being used is vape. So we use other words like electronic cigarette, but just putting the actual word used into the policy makes it clearer for anyone reading it that vapes are not allowed to be used on school property. And in addition, you just see a struck language at the very top that just says that this is effective in 1994 because we just removed that language. We must have missed that when we did our last policy review.
Motion to approve JLDBC substance abuse policy by Mr. Shalell, seconded by Ms. Grant and Ms. Bonolo. Any discussion on the first passage of JLDBC substance abuse policy? There being none, roll call on the first passage, please.
Ms. Bonolo? Yes. Ms. Carney? Yes. Mr. Shalell? Yes. Ms. Doobie?
Yes.
Ms. Fernandez? Yes. Ms. Grant?
Yes.
Mr. Charbonneau?
Yes. All right, the next discussion item was mine, the Unified High School. Actually, I know the superintendent wanted to publicly thank again the governor and the commissioner, the mayor. We had the check presentation yesterday, $50 million in RIDE PAYGO for the Unified High School, so that provides some initial funding to get us going, and that was a big PAYGO award. and credit to this committee for getting the stage two in there and getting it approved, and it was a good day yesterday. So that was the update. I think Superintendent Royal, she had a flair for speaking. She was terrific yesterday. And I think she wanted to make sure that, you know, her appreciation to the governor and the commissioner, the mayor, the committee, and the community were expressed. So that's that. All right, I will entertain a motion to adjourn to executive session pursuant to Rhode Island General Law 42465A2 for the purpose discussing acting upon litigation. Rosanino versus the City of Pawtucket. Motion to adjourn to executive session by Mr. Shalell, by Ms. Spinolo, seconded by Ms. Grant and Mr. Shalell. Any discussion on the adjournment to executive session? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We'll be in executive session. Anna, we're good? All right, we will reconvene in public session at 6:55 PM. Ms. List, please report out the vote. Oh, we do a roll call first? Roll call, please.
Ms. Spinello? Here. Ms. Carney? Here. Mr. Shalhoub? Here. Ms. Doobie?
Yes.
Ms. Fernandez? Here. Ms. Grant? Here. Mr. Charbonneau?
Here. And Ms. List, please report out the votes of the 1:25-24 executive session.
The committee voted unanimously on the matter of Rosina versus the City of Pawtucket to approve, to seal the executive session minutes, to adjourn the executive session.
Thank you. Motion adjourned by Ms. Spinolo, seconded by Ms. Fernandez. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Good night, everyone.